Here in Massachusetts and all across America, our infrastructure, overpasses, highways, bridges, tunnels, is increasingly falling apart. How to pay for improvements? Well, on Beacon Hill, the state is looking at increasing the Massachusetts gas tax 3 cents. Are you in favor?
People that are driving on the road should be the primary people to pay for it, and I think that for something as essential as gas, it wouldn't deter too many people from buying it.
I'm originally from New York, so it's way higher. So
In New York is much higher, almost 50.
Exactly.
Cents,
so I
right.
think it'll be totally worth it.
I hit a pothole on Storrow Drive coming in today, and I was like, this is not good.
Any incremental increase in prices at the pump can have a meaningful impact on a lot of consumers. So I think it's something to consider.
I mean, there's an environmental impact here too, right? We have very few years to get our use of fossil fuels under control.
I don't have much of a vested interest. I walk everywhere.
Oh, lucky you.
Sure, raise it.
Yeah, but trust me, if you have a back like mine, walking can be taxing. So there's no issue there. It's time for our Sunday Roundtable, and we're all fueled up this morning. We're joined by Democrat political analyst Marianne Marsh and veteran Boston Globe political reporter Frank Phillips joins us as well this morning. Let me just put it on the table, Marianne. Let me start with you. Will this legislature actually hike the gas tax?
I think they will for a couple of reasons. One, the transportation and the roads and bridges and infrastructure problems are so bad they have no choice. And it's not an election year. But that said, it's always been viewed as a regressive tax. So I think one thing they should consider is the less public transportation you have in Massachusetts where you live, the lower you should pay in gas tax, not the full 3 cents. And if you live in a place like Boston and elsewhere, you should pay more. And then that way it's far more equitable, and the investments need to go into more public transportation, better roads, better highways. We have no
Frank,
choice.
do 3 cents sound viable or no?
Probably in the legislature, I think Charlie Baker would have a lot of problems with it. He's obviously run on as a no new tax guy, and he's also signed on to a compact, a regional compact, that will eventually propose some kind of what they call carbon pricing mechanism, and it's a euphemism for tax, gas tax. And if he has to do that, it would double down on the number, the tax. If they raise the tax this year another 3 cents, they're going to, maybe it'll be 6 cents if they follow through with that compact.
Sure. Let's move over to City Hall. Mayor Marty Walsh has a lot on his plate, but perhaps his biggest political dilemma could be who is he going to endorse at this early stage of the 2020 campaign? His good friend Joe Biden or his own U.S. Senator Elizabeth Warren? What's your prediction, Frank?
I think Joe Biden, with the track record that he has, he went with Capuano, he's gone with the traditional candidates, and I don't think he will be out there for Warren. That's what he's done in the past, and I think this would be what he'd be doing in the future.
Is Frank right about that, Aaron?
Yeah. I mean, go back to 2016. I mean, Marty Walsh was clearly waiting for Joe Biden to get into this race. And even when Joe Biden said he wasn't going to get in this race, Marty still wanted to endorse Joe Biden, not Hillary Clinton. So I'd be very surprised if he didn't endorse Biden if Biden gets in.
And speaking of this race, the next topic is Senator Warren. This week she did a big national town hall. CNN broadcasted from Mississippi. In fact, her campaign schedule has her working in many southern states this very early stage of the nomination fight. Marianne, is she right to worry about bad news coming out of New Hampshire and perhaps Iowa next year?
I think it's a smart two-pronged strategy. It's either going to be her firewall or she's going to set a wildfire. The firewall is if she doesn't do well in Iowa and New Hampshire but can do well in the South. And remember, when she's out there campaigning now, no matter who her audience, she always talks about how economics and her policies would help or how adversely affected African Americans are. Now, if she does well in Iowa and New Hampshire, she takes off like a wildfire and collects a ton of delegates, and that's the difference between winning the nomination and losing the
Frank,
nomination.
what about her southern strategy?
I saw her on CNN the other night at the Mississippi Jackson State College. I thought she was, any doubts I had about her candidacy, she really was very good. It reminded me of her coming back to run against Scott Brown. We didn't really know her, and she immediately filled the halls around you couldn't get in to see Elizabeth Warren. You couldn't get into a living room. She just packed everything. She's very dynamic. She was at that CNN town hall, and I think that's something that is very effective. She could do through the South, and gain a lot of support. I think she really kicked off something there.
Is the South very reliable as far as money is concerned, though, Marianne, or do you think that she's going to have to rely on the more traditional left and right coasts for money.
Look, Elizabeth Warren, like most people in this race, except for Joe Biden, have put together longstanding national grassroots fundraising. She will grassroots fundraise her way across the country. Remember, she has the most restrictive fundraising policy of anybody.
Frank, Warren is on the bandwagon, however, when it comes to calling for the Electoral College to be abolished. Take a listen.
Come a general election, presidential candidates don't come to places like Mississippi. Well, my view is that every vote matters.
So are Democrats thumbing their noses at smaller, sort of more rural states if they do this, Frank?
Well, they're thumbing their noses going back to the Constitution. That was the grand bargain to pull all. We were essentially a federation of 13 colonies, and you had to, respect each one of them. And if they undo that and we go to a national election, it's really a break in a great tradition that we've had that held us together on it, and also be very pro-democratic. You'll have California and New York and the East Coast and the West Coast dominating the elections, and the rural areas being sort of pushed aside.
But I think one thing is far more important than that. I mean, you can talk about the Electoral College all you want. It will take a constitutional amendment to change it. But the far more important thing is to make sure that every single vote is cast in a secure machine and is accurately and honestly counted. Because you can get rid of the Electoral College, but if votes aren't counted and there's scheming going on, then a winner will be determined by an illegitimate means, not by this. The Electoral College would do nothing to fix that.
So get rid of the Electoral College, yes or no?
I'm not a fan of getting rid of it.
Get rid of it, yes or no?
I think it deserves a real national debate about defining who we really are. And I'm not yes or no or either one of them.
Either one.
I'd like to hear that debate.
Great. All right, we continue on the record. Stay with us.